A few questions, because I apologise that I couldn't get here earlier. I just want to better understand, we've got a lot of research and development corporations out there, and particularly in agriculture, and I want to understand what steps you take to ensure that the research and development work that you're doing, which is fundamental and you know, really groundbreaking in most areas, but that it's not duplicating the work that's being done by the RDCs, but complementing.
Yes, Senator, generally the RDCs, so we have a very close relationship with them, and generally they contract with us. So they have very good visibility of what we're doing and vice versa. So for example, when we did Future Feed, that was a collaboration with one of the RDCs, as an example. So I think there doesn't tend to be much duplication. The RDCs work with universities, they work with many research providers, but they work with us when they feel like we're going to have the best capability or be able to deliver most efficiently.
Yeah. And so then how are you linking your work in with the agriculture innovation agenda?
So a number of our missions are targeted directly at that agenda.
Yeah.
For example, Senator, there's an ambitious goal to grow our agri-food exports from 60 billion to 100 billion. We've done work that concerns us that many unique Australian products are being counterfeited internationally. And so we've done breakthrough science using the genetics of the product itself, for example, with meat or salmon, and even the unique isotopic concentration of the water in case of fruits and plants, so that you can use the product itself as a unique identifier to prove that it came from Australia, as opposed to a mark or a stamp that could be counterfeited. We think there's up to 10 billion that could be gained. So get us 10 billion closer to the 100 billion goal just by figuring out a better way to do food provenance. And a number of Australian companies from Tasmania to the Northern Territory have partnered with us to help us develop that solution. So that's one. We think there's another 10 billion to be gained through the plant-based protein industry by growing an alternative protein business. And the reason we worked with Hungry Jacks...
I appreciate that you called it plant-based protein rather than
the reason we wanted to explore with Hungry Jacks this idea is we're worried that it might be competitive with the beef industry, which we wouldn't want to do. But they've shown additive sales over their burgers because a lot of vegans want to try a burger but they don't eat meat. And so it really does genuinely seem to be an additive market. We think that could be a $10 billion injection for our exports in Asia. So that's another one. And then the other big one is drought. We're working with a number of small regional towns to try and figure out what can science do better to help them both predict drought using our climate modelling, but also using some of the technologies like Graincast that was in the media today that help them use science and modelling to make better decisions about how much fertiliser should I buy, how much seed should I buy, when exactly should I plant, what sort of crop yields can I expect, and it helps them optimise the profit from their business. We think there's significant upside there as well. Yeah, so I'd say we're very well aligned.
So I would imagine to do all of this as well, you're working closely with the Department of Agriculture to identify gaps and priorities and to work so that it's a practical solution for industry to achieve our target.
Yeah, exactly. And back in 2016, Senator, we put a number of our scientists from across the organisation literally out onto farms. So there's a great story about a young scientist in Hobart, Jackie Brown, who went out and came up with the idea for Graincast by working on the ground with a farming family. Brilliant climate scientists, but they helped her understand what did they really need to know from climate science to help make their farm more productive. And there are many of those stories across CSIRO. That's kind of where we're at our best, Senator. It's why in this crisis, having our scientists on the shop floor in factories, actually working with manufacturing people, I don't know, they love that environment because they can very quickly see an immediate impact from their work, particularly during a crisis. So I think we tend to be very practical for that reason, that we're out in the community, we're on the shop floor, on farms, we're not just stuck